So welcome Mr. Larry Gallagher to Insol office. Thank you for coming here today. Just wonder, is it the first time you've been to Vũng Tàu?
Xin chào, Amy. It's very nice to be here. I'm very happy to be in Vũng Tàu today. But it's not my first time. I have been to Vũng Tàu twice before, so this is my third visit.
Okay, so how do you feel for this third time visit? Are there any similar thing between Vũng Tàu and Brisbane, the city where you're living?
Yes, it's the city where I live, but also the city where we hope to take our group later this year. There are lots of similarities. There are lots of differences. The big difference is there are not so many motorcycles in Brisbane.
I see.
It's a bigger city. But both places are coastal cities. We have very similar vegetation. In terms of the plants that I look at the window here are very much the same kind of plants that I look at home. I think the most important thing for me, though, is that the people are very much the same. I mean, basically, pretty much everybody, whether they're Australian or Vietnamese, wants to be happy and wants their children to be healthy and safe, basically.
We are so happy to have you here with us so we can talk about our summer course this year in Australia. So, as far as I know, you are currently the Chief Executive Officer of Brightview Innovation, the official local representative of Insol Vietnam in Australia. So, can you tell us more detail about Brightview Innovation and your experience in organizing summer course in Australia for international students, especially Vietnamese students?
Okay. Well, Insol Innovations was formed about 14 years ago. I retired from being a high school principal at that point and became a consultant trainer for teachers and students in Asia. I first came to Vietnam in 2009, but didn't actually take a group of students to Australia from Vietnam until 2014. At that time, ever since then, every summer, we've taken one or two groups to Australia, totaling up to about 55 students.
I see. So, seeing that Brightview Innovation and you individually have been so successful in organizing summer courses in Australia for Vietnamese students, so how Brightview Innovation and Insol Vietnam become the long-term partnership till now?
Well, basically, the director of Insol, Ms. Hongo, and I worked together on a project about 3 years ago.
Wow, really?
It was one of the groups that had come to Australia. And we worked together very well. We enjoyed it. She's a very responsible and reliable young person. And we did at that time talk about the possibility of maybe working together on other projects later. And in the times that I've come back to Vũng Tàu, we spoke again. When she decided to proceed with her own business, I was more than happy to become involved.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that this is the first of many programs that we will run together.
Yes. So I believe that we both will have very long-term partnership from now on.
Yes.
So let's talk about our summer course in Australia this year. I have heard about the many summer course offered in Vietnam from many different agents. So what are the exclusive services that make it different from other suppliers in the market?
Probably the most important thing is that for us, education is number one. We are providing a program where students will actually attend school, regular working classroom, and when they're in Australia, they will be with English-speaking Australian students.
Yes.
They will stay with English-speaking families for their home stay, and really get a chance to immerse themselves in English. Many of the other companies, most of them, their prime focus is tourism.
I see. Just sightseeing.
Yeah, people want to see the interesting things in Australia. Now, we will do a bit of that as well. And particularly at the end of our program, we'll have a 2 or 3 day thing that is really more tourist oriented. But our main focus is on academics. So. That's the big difference.
Yeah, so one of the most important thing of the course is that the students have chance to communicate in English 24 hours per day because they will stay with the host family in Australia. That means they share the same language and they learn more about Australian culture. So you know, one of the biggest concerns of Vietnamese parents when send their children abroad is about the safety. So can you share how could we ensure the safety for such a big group of students and how we ensure about the program quality at the same time?
Okay, well basically to start off with, we're aware of those concerns and we understand them completely. We do many things to try to ensure that the program moves forward successfully but safely as well. In the first instance, there's always going to be a Prideshill staff member and an Insol staff member with the students in all activities, except when they're in their homestay.
I see.
Now, in the homestay situation, the host families will have all received a thing called a blue card. Now, this blue card basically is a check or sign to show that they have been checked by the police. All host parents will have to have made an application and they are not allowed to host students unless they have one. The school will itself send one of its staff members to the home to make sure, to see where the student's going to be sleeping and to make sure that everything is safe.
I see.
The families basically all will provide 3 meals a day for the students. So there's no issue about them starving to death. They sometimes don't get quite as much rice and noodles as they might like at home in Vietnam.
Wow.
But we try to encourage those families to maybe make them the occasional Vietnamese style dinner, or maybe even get the students themselves to cook for their families. So basically it's a fairly safe environment that we're offering. When they're on their excursion, the tourism part of the end, then obviously we follow all the sorts of directions. We've got a whole series of expectations that we provide to the students that they must understand to make sure that no one's involved in accidents and things of that nature.
So, beside close supervision of Bright News Innovation Australia and Insol staff, students will be staying together with the host family. All the host families in Australia have been chosen very carefully, and all other qualified host families will have a good relationship with the local school in Australia. So the parent will be not so concerned about the safety and program quality. So actually, I have seen through the itinerary of summer course this year to Australia, and I found it so interesting. When we visit many different places, and I just wonder the reason, as a local organizer, why do you choose Sydney and Brisbane to be the main destination this year?
Well, we chose Brisbane basically because we feel it's the best place to provide the type of classroom academic program that we want to do. The schools in Brisbane, which is part of the state of Queensland, all have staff who have been trained on hosting international students.
I see.
As I mentioned earlier, there will be one of those staff members that will actually go and check out the homestay hosts, family residents rather. So it's a much better operation than some of the other states. Brisbane is also a very, very interesting place in its own right. There are fabulous things. It's very, very close to the Gold Coast. We'll get the opportunity to go down to that and to the Sunshine Coast. One of the things we find in the past with other groups that have come is Queensland is the only state in Australia where students can get to hold a koala and have their photos taken to bring back to Vietnam.
I have never seen koala.
Okay, well you have to come to Australia this summer. And basically, in other states, they can put a koala on a branch or something over here and have a picture taken beside. But in Queensland, you can actually hold them. So it has many special features. Now, for Sydney, Sydney is probably the most famous place in Australia. So after spending 2 weeks in the school in Brisbane, we will actually fly to Sydney and run a 3-day program. The students there will get to go to see the Blue Mountains. They'll see the Opera House. They will see Sydney Harbour Bridge, Darling Harbour, many other things. Probably go down to the Bondi Beach and see the surf lifesavers, and actually get to see most of those well-known sites. So we like to combine, we think this combination of Brisbane and Sydney gives us the best combination for providing quality academics and quality tourism.
It's in the perfect choice. We combine successfully between academic things and field of entertainment, relaxation, visiting all famous attractions in Australia. So I show you this. Let me show you this. This is the flyer we designed especially for this summer course. And in which we have listed out all kinds of key selling points for the Australia. That means they will stay with the host family. They will study in the same real class with Australian students. And it makes us feel like after come back from the trip, I believe that our students will become more confident. Yes, and of course their English communication will become much better with the very exclusive learning experience in Australia.
Yeah, that's probably the thing we notice the most. We don't expect them to become fluent in English because you don't become fluent in a foreign language in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
But they will come back feeling much more comfortable about communicating in that language. And basically, if they come back to Bowen Tau, they will and continue to speak English with their friends or with their teachers or wherever they get the opportunity. They should learn English much more quickly.
Yeah, not just about the summer course, but it need continuous progress in learning English for sure.
Yes.
So last but not least, thank you so much for being here today. And your information is definitely useful for all the parents and students who show great interest in summer course this year to Australia. So this is a happy new year. So we wish you and bring you innovation, a new year filled with peace, prosperity, happiness, and success.
Thank you. I wish you the same, but I'll wish it in English because my Vietnamese language is not very good.
Thank you so much.
Come on, I'm very happy to have been here. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for coming here, and we believe that our students will enjoy the most memorable trip ever in Australia with your community.
I'm looking forward to coming back at the end of August and seeing everybody again and seeing the students who've been to Australia and talking about our experience.
So see you soon in Brisbane and Sydney.
Okay.
Thank you,
Mr.
Gallagher.